Hi, welcome back to Digital Learning. In this episode, we are taking a look at the Epson BrightLink interactive projector project that we have going on through Pinellas County and through the generous funding of the referendum. And we just had an opportunity in the previous segment to take a look at Alex giving us a little direct mini lesson. And in this next segment, we've put together a little skit with Alex and Stacey addressing some of the common problems that come up. And so let's take a look.
This thing never works. What is happening?
Hey Stacey, it looks like you're having some problems with your interactive projector. Fortunately, there's some easy troubleshooting steps we can take to get your interactive projector working just like you want it to. The first thing I'm seeing, looking at your setup here, is you've got some sticky notes on your board. Right now, I know we love our sticky notes, but with this interactive projector, with the Epson, this box, the laser has to be able to reach all the corners of the screen, and you can see those sticky notes are causing some problems. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure our entire screen is clear of any interference. We're going to go ahead and stick those over here to the side. Now, another problem that could be caused on your interactive display is actually not with the display itself. The projector could be working perfectly, but it's actually a Windows problem. So to fix that, we actually have to go to the desktop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use my keyboard, my mouse and keyboard here. So I'm going to minimize my everything and go to my desktop. And I right-click on my desktop. And on your desktop, there's this Intel graphics setting. So that's where you go for your graphics settings. So I'm going to click my Intel graphics settings. So my Intel graphics settings is going to pop up here. And we want to look at a couple things. We want to make sure that our resolution is 1280 by 800. Okay. That's the resolution that works best with the Epson displays. We also want to make sure that we have scale full screen checked. So we're going to make sure that this is checked and that override application settings is checked. Once those two things are set, we can click the Apply button. It's going to change and think about it. We're going to click Yes, we want to apply these settings. And our scale full screen is going to be set. Now our settings should be good to go. So our computer is talking nicely to our projector, and we should be able to go back into our interactive notebook now, and all of our touch should be working correctly.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, what's happening? Nothing is working. What?
Hey Stacey, it looks like your interactive projector's touch function's not working. Now, I know it looks like it's set up correctly because you can see your computer screen on here, but in order for the touch to work, you have to make sure that it's actually plugged in and sending information back to your computer with a USB plug. So what you're going to do is look at where all the cables come out of your computer, and or out of your wall, and it's going to be different depending on your room setup, but in this case they're all coming out down here. So I'm going to take this white cable here, and I'm going to follow that, and it's a USB cable, so it's going to look just like this. This is the cable I have to make sure it's plugged into my computer. So when I come back over to my computer, I'm just going to plug that in, and now we should be good to go. And your interactive projector is working.
Thanks, Alex.
No problem.
Okay, today, class, I want you to work in your workbook on page 151. Oh, wait, I just got an important email. Let me check that real quick. Oh, I don't want anyone to see that.
Hey, Stacey. So it looks like you want to show something different on your screen and on the screen for your students. There's a couple ways we can do this. The easiest way is to use the Epson BrightLink projector's freeze functionality. On your remote, you can pull up what you want on the screen and then hit the freeze button. Up in the top corner, it's going to say freeze, and now your students will continue to see this, but you can control what's on your desktop separately, and they'll look different. You can also access the freeze function from the touch interface by clicking this button and then hitting the freeze button, the little pause button. You can see it says freeze up in the top corner now. Another way you can resolve this is to set up what are called extended displays. So what shows up on your desktop is always different than what's on the screen. To do this, you'd go to the desktop. So go ahead and go to the desktop. You're going to right-click on the desktop and go to Intel Graphics Settings. From the Intel Graphics Settings, we're going to go to Multiple Displays and select Extend to Desktop. Once we hit Apply, this will allow you to have something different on your screen from what the students have on the display up here, while still enabling the touch input to work.
Thanks, Alex.
So Stacey, that was fun, and I think that was kind of your idea, wasn't it?
Well, it was kind of Alex's idea, but we worked together.
Okay. Well, first we need to clarify that you were acting in this role, and you're actually quite knowledgeable in all things technology. And I want to welcome you because this is the first time you've had the opportunity to be on the Digital Learning Show because you're new to the Digital Learning department.
That's right.
And so tell us a little bit of what you've been up to just, you know, since you've started here.
Well, just trying to, get into the department and see how I can help teachers most in bringing some of my experiences from the classroom right to the forefront of the department and showcasing some of the difficulties that teachers are possibly having in the classroom with integrating technology.
How did you select those little problem scenarios, Alex?
They're the questions we hear the most. When we go out to schools, a lot of people have these new projectors. They had people come in and put this thing on their wall, and they, now it's doing something weird. So we thought we'd answer some of those questions in a kind of a fun little way.
So this is really tied to our larger interactive technology project, which includes all the smart boards that have gone into elementary schools and now the projectors. And so what other type of training is available to teachers with either regarding their smart boards or the interactive projectors?
Well, we have Smart Notebook training, which is a piece of software that's designed specifically to take advantage of the interactive projectors. Interactivity is great, but if you don't use it, and it's not helping the kids. So we've got that training that's available through True North Logic, PLN. People can find it on Focus. We also are available to come out to schools. We can do whole school training. We can do 20 minutes and out. We can. I was just out at a school last week just working with a small group of teachers trying to show them in their classrooms how they can use these boards and troubleshoot some of these problems. So we're available. Just get in touch with us and we'll fit around the teachers' schedules.
Stacey, speak to us for just a brief minute about how the interactivity helps kids learn.
It helps with engagement. It really keeps the kids engaged and makes them kind of leaders and in control of their learning instead of always being on the teacher to lead the learning.
So you recently out of the classroom at Pellerin Elementary. How did you keep kids engaged in your classroom using your smart board?
Mostly just letting them come up to the board and touch and interact with new content was helpful. Also, they were beginning to make their own smart notebook presentations, so taking the information that they had learned and putting it into some kind of technological presentation was helpful.
What are some of the other applications? We have Smart Notebook. I know, again, Pellerin used a lot with Nearpod. And why don't you say a word about how this project helps put forward Nearpod?
So the Nearpod is really good for doing live lessons or self-paced lessons if the kids have one-to-one devices. So that would be probably the way Nearpod would be mostly used. The kids were creating their own Nearpods, which was very powerful.
So both Nearpod and Smart Notebook have functions built in for teachers for real quick formative assessments. Can you mention the power of that?
Sure, and just a real quick plug, there are a lot of features built into Windows 10 too. When people get that they can take advantage of with these interactive projectors.
Oh, hold on, let's stay on that thought. Windows 10, it's available now.
Yes,
and
yes.
So if you're interested in Windows 10, we need to have get with your tech and get your machine, your work machine up to date with Windows 10.
Yeah, absolutely. But in terms of the Smart Notebook software as an example, they've got lessons that are designed for students to come up and interact with the board that give them instant feedback. So for those more kinesthetic learners, the kids who need to touch something and interact with it to learn, it's a really powerful tool.
Windows 10 is new, and it's like, oh my goodness, something more to learn. But why would a teacher want to take time to dive into Windows 10? What can it do for them in their instructional?
Well, the first thing to know about Windows 10 is it's not that different from Windows 7. So if you're comfortable using Windows already and you use Windows 7, then Windows 10 won't be a huge jump. But what it does have built in, one example, are digital inking. For example, you can use the Edge browser that comes with it. And you can take a whole web page and you can put it up, so let's say Newsella or something like that. And you can actually annotate on the web page. You could write on the web page, you could highlight on the web page, you could do it in front of your students, you could have your students come up and highlight different keywords. And you could do that all within the operating system. It's built in. They've also got sticky notes you can draw on. You can write on the screen. You can write right into a PowerPoint. So if you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, you can actually put little ink markings in the PowerPoint and it'll actually save those inkings. So I know people love PowerPoint. You can use a lot of this interactivity with PowerPoint too.
Hey, mention our blog, would you please?
Yeah, so it's techtoolbox.pcsb.org.
techtoolbox.pcsb.org.
Yeah, and we put some content up there when we come up with a new Windows 10. We have a Windows 10 sway up there that's got information about keyboard shortcuts for Windows 10. We've got information on how to set up your Epson projector. You know, every time we learn something new, because we're always learning, we try and share it with people, and that's one place that they can go, people can go to find more about it.
Okay, so we're always wanting to look for new ways to engage students in their learning and give teachers tools that they need. They don't have time to spend a lot of time learning, and you know, we understand that when they reach barriers, it's like, okay, never mind. So we're here to help them break down the barriers, right, and get past that to where they can get to a place where they're fluid in their use of technology and really helping kids learn. Thank you, and I hope that you will join us for our next episode of Digital Learning.